what are the bowl games that no one cares about? Because like there are some prestigious bowl games that aren't high-ranking bowl games. Like the Alamo Bowl doesn't mean anything, but it's a prestigious bowl game. Now,
Maybe.
are we talking about like the Alamo Bowl versus the RL Carrier Cleaners Bowl? Yeah,
Exactly.
no one cares about that bowl.
But I mean, we'll see. Some of those teams are going to end up in those games because of their names, and it's not going to. This is how you get teams that get shellacked by teams that maybe come from a weaker conference because they hold on to their name. They're like, oh, well, we got to this bowl, and you overlook a team that actually played their ass off to get there, and they're going to put a lot more fight into it. And by the time you realize what's happening, you've already lost.
Exactly.
And that's probably what would happen to a Cal team. Now, Arizona State gets in. Arizona State didn't think they were making a bowl this year. So they're going to play their asses off. And they'll probably shellac somebody who doesn't think that they're good enough to be there.
There should be a playoff for losers. Like didn't make a bowl game. You're part of a 16-team playoff.
That
Winner gets an automatic bowl bid next season.
Consolation prize.
Winner gets an automatic bowl bid to Camping World Bowl next season.
I guess you could do that. I don't.
Florida State for Camping World Bowl.
Yeah, it would give Florida State hope.
It would. So Washington, like I said, has some good wins. They beat BYU 35-7. Back when BYU was ranked. Doesn't look like as good of a win now because BYU has been.
BYU is a defense team. They weren't an offense team.
For lack of a better term, they got exposed.
Yeah.
BYU finished the season 6-6. They're fighting for playoff. Fighting for a bowl game. But this Washington versus Utah game. What does Utah need to do to beat Washington?
Get some big stops. Run the ball. Running the ball has obviously worked for you the entire time. Control the clock and get Washington to falter on offense. Because Washington's only go-to is that they believe they can put up more points on you than you can. And if you don't give them an opportunity, if you force them into 3 and outs, if you force a turnover, hopefully, you put them in a position that they won't be able to react to. Their defense hasn't been great all year.
It hasn't, no. And key word that you had just said, for me, it's turnover. Turn the ball over. Let's see. I know it's Weber State. I'm just going through and looking at the turnover differential. 4 turnovers. They forced 4 turnovers against Weber State.
I think we're diving way too far into this. If you want to call it turnovers, call it turnovers. But we spent an hour already, and we've made it through 2 bowl games. Or 2 conference titles.
I'm sorry, they've actually turned the ball over 4 times. They fumbled 3 times and threw an interception. Utah did.
And they still
They
won
still
the
won
game.
41-10.
Yeah, so do the opposite of that, and you might even win by even more.
Turn the ball over, stop Myles Gaskin.
I'm also not saying that it's necessarily turn the ball over. Force 3 and outs. Give them the ball back. If you keep them from scoring and you can get the ball back and you can control the tempo and the pace of this game, you'll win it.
Yeah,
and that to me, that is Utah's strength. So they have what they need to do against a team like Washington is the strengths that they have. So lean on your strengths. Do what you've been doing all year long to all these teams that's gotten you to this point. Because that's been working. And against Washington, it's almost the perfect formula.
Exactly. I think the turnover is going to be key. Because...
yeah, for Washington to win, they need to protect the ball. They need to protect the ball, and they need to score and score at will.
I mean, they...
deflate the defense quickly. Make the defense feel lesser. And if you can take the momentum out of their hands, then Washington can win.
Let's flip it now. Washington needs to play with pace. They can't slow it down because that's what Utah wants. Utah
right. You
wants
have to be quick.
a slow, grinded out
You
game.
have to keep it up tempo, and you have to You have to take advantage of opportunities because Utah is not going to give you many. And if you can get on the board and put points up and take away some of the edge that they have on defense, that's your recipe to win if you're Washington.
But also, don't deviate from what you've done all season. There's a reason you're 9-3. All right? So, Myles Gaskin, give him the ball, whether that's on a handoff or get creative, pitch it. I mean, even throw it to him out of the backfield. Just do something that confuses Utah, but also stays true to the game that you've played, which is rely on Myles Gaskin to get you yards and touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So do that.
That's the math they need.
Be creative.
But they need to do it with an up-tempo pace, and they need to deflate Utah early.
And if you're
Don't let that defense get momentum, because if they start getting confidence, you're going to be in a bad spot.
And if you're going to slow it down, you need chunk plays. You need big plays at a slow pace.
You need to at least keep moving the chains.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the defense out there as long as possible if you're going to slow it down. Because you want to keep the defense off the field. You want to on the field, wear them out. And then when the opportunity arises, throw in the demoralizing blows.
Exactly.
That's the recipe for Washington to walk out of there.
And if you get up 21-7, I usually am not the type that's, prone to want to take, my foot off the gas. I like to use the term take the foot off the throat. But, your best player is Myles Gaskin. So give him the ball.
Yeah, let him run, especially because if you've got a lead like that, you're just play the clock now. You're not going up against the opponent. You're going up against the clock.
You don't even need to look at it as you're just trying to milk the clock. He's literally your best player, and the best strategy is to get the ball into the hands of your best player. That's why do you think the Cowboys are at 6-5 right now and not better? They're making these boneheaded play calls where they want Dak to be the hero. Just give Ezekiel Elliott the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to do.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with the Giants. Like Eli, he's had decent games, but when are the Giants the most effective? When the ball is in Saquon Barkley's hands. Give your best player, and I know you like Odell, but I think Saquon Barkley is the best player on the team.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, Odell's an extremely good talent and is a nice piece out there, but I mean, all around playing, yes, Saquon's probably the best player on that team.
Get the ball into the hands of your best player any means necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that means, if you think it's Odell, he's thrown a touchdown this season. Why not?
Yeah.
Let him run the ball. If you think it's Saquon, let him run. He ran the Wildcats so well at Penn State that teams knew it was coming and still couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
Anyways, I digress. Get the ball into the hands of your best player, especially when that player, has gone for 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns as a running back.
I'd say seems pretty obvious, actually.
Yeah.
We'll see if Washington does it or they put it in the hands of the quarterback and try and make him the hero. But I don't think that's a good strategy against Utah.
I don't think so either.
Nope.
Oh, man.
It shouldn't be a winning one, though.
So that's 2 down, 8 to go. Oh, man. Conference championship. This is my favorite, one of my favorite weeks of college football, but it's also one of my least favorite. It's one of my favorite because, we're just getting to see great football.
Well, yeah, it's got to be a favorite because of matchups.
It's my least favorite because that means after this week, there's like 2 football games on a week.
Yeah, unfortunately, it starts dwindling. The end's coming, but this is why you get these great games at the end. But that's what makes this week awesome. And the end of the year with all the bowl games. Because you're getting good matchups there usually. Yeah,
the bowl season is my favorite. It's better than March Madness in my opinion. I mean,
I guess I understand that. I've still got a special spot in my heart for March Madness just because it's wall to wall basketball from the middle of the morning to like 1 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
I get it though, but bowl season it's high up there. That and if they I think the college football playoff would be much higher up there if it expanded, but we've had that conversation.
Yeah, which is not going to happen until like 2023.
Probably not, knowing the NCAA.
I mean, they
suck.
They have it contracted for teams.
Yeah, but this is the NCAA. They make the rules.
I mean, technically, the NCAA has nothing to do with the playoff. They only regulate the bowls.
Yeah, sure.
The playoff is entirely media. That's NCAA. It's not a sanctioned championship.
The contract may be out till 2023, but that doesn't mean that can't be altered if more money's to be made. Which, if
we
it's
know
run
it
by
is.
the media, they're going to look for more money.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the shootout. We get Red River Rivalry Part 2 in the Big 12 Championship. I'm expecting this game to be a final score of 137 to 129.
I mean, possible. You saw what happened with LSU and Texas A&M over the weekend. That was incredible.
And those two have defense.
Yeah.
Very
true.
I mean, one of those teams held Alabama to 29 points.
Yeah. And then they got into that monstrosity of a game.
Well, when they went to overtime, it was like 35-35.
Mm-hmm.
And then 7 overtimes later.
Although this Big 12 championship should be a good one. It's nice to see that the Big 12 is going to participate in this championship thing again.
This is the second year they've done it.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to see them back. It's consistent. They didn't decide to scrap it after last year didn't help them. Well, that didn't help us, so we're staying out of it.
It did help them. That's how Oklahoma got in.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and they got beat by Georgia.
Yeah, that didn't end up helping them in the long run. So, I mean, I guess, that's probably why we're back to it again.
Because if they didn't have that playoff, it definitely would have been Ohio State in the playoff last year. Or maybe not. Maybe it would have been Penn State. We don't know.
Oh, that's true. We'll never know.
We have no idea what the college football playoff decides to do. But we do know that this week is, like I said, part 2 of the Red River Showdown, Red River Rivalry, whatever you want to call it. It goes by many names. I'm going to call it Scorefest.
Oh, it's definitely going to be Scorefest. I mean, look at Oklahoma's last couple of games. Oklahoma, I kind of view Oklahoma as being like to me, they're like the Saints. Screw defense. We're just going to try and hang 50 on you and see if you can do it.
That is unfortunately what I'm going to be watching on Thursday night.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh, man. If I had to make a prediction, God, Saints beat the Cowboys 41-21 is my guess.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys are a team that I project will go to the playoffs.
Yeah, how do they finagle to have the Saints on 2 Thursday night games 2 weeks in a row?
Because you have to watch the Saints. This is like their 5th primetime game this season.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. It's not really common to see that, is it? Have we seen that really on Thursday night?
I don't think so.
It doesn't happen that often, but there's some scheduling asshole at the NFL who I'm sure has an algorithm for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
not that it makes any sense to us, but...
Pythagorean Goodell.
Pythagorean Goodell.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds like exactly what it is.
I don't think he's intelligent enough to even run his own home.
No, I don't think so either.
But anyways, Texas, last time out, beat Oklahoma on a game-winning field goal after Oklahoma was down 21 points in the 4th quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And Oklahoma stormed all the way back just to lose on a field goal with no time left.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting for a few reasons. One, if Oklahoma wins and they win big, they almost guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs since Michigan lost.
Right.
Not only that, if Oklahoma wins and Kyler Murray plays really well, he has reinserted himself into the Heisman discussion. He's probably, if he has a big game against Texas, he's probably going to be right up there with Tua. Since Tua's had some scares about his knee, and he hasn't had to play much.